When I was offered the chance for a weekend away, I naturally jumped at the chance, but the question was where to go. We'd both already been to Bruges and were not tempted by the more metropolitan feel of Brussels, so headed to Ghent, just 97 miles from Calais. The history of Ghent begins in the year 630, when Saint Amandus chose the site of the confluence of the two rivers, the Lys and the Scheldt, to construct an abbey. Nearly 1400 years of history are still palpable in the city today. A medieval castle surrounded by a moat, an imposing cathedral, a belfry, and the Royal Dutch Theatre, dating back to 1899. The rivers still play an important role in life in Ghent today, with much of the tourism in the area focused around the Lys. The quays of Grasley and Corenly were once the city's centre of trade. These quays remain a hub of activity, lined with cafes, terraces and moorings for boat tours. They're the gateway to the historical centre, and a look upwards shows hidden history in the buildings around you. One of the most iconic views of Ghent is from St Michael's Bridge, where you can spot the three towers of Ghent, St Nicholas's Church, the Belfry and St Bavo's Cathedral. After partaking in one of the many boat trips on offer, my first stop on dry land was St Nicholas's Church. Wow, if this was the church, I couldn't wait to see the cathedral. It is a Roman Catholic church with roots dating back to the 13th century. The church was popular with the guilds, whose members carried out their business nearby. The guilds had their own chapels, which were added to the sides of the church. The church features stained glass windows by Capronier, which depict the life of Mary and the crucifixion of Jesus. Hungry for more, I headed across the square to St Bavo's Cathedral. There has been a church on this site since 942. St Bavo's Cathedral houses an impressive collection of art and architectural treasures, with the Baroque-style high altar in white, black and red-flamed marble, the ornate carvings and paintings in the choir, the opulent tombs of the bishops of Ghent, and of course the world-famous Adoration of the Mystic Lamb. A 15th century polyptych that is considered to be the first great painting of the Renaissance. Particularly breathtaking is the Rococo pulpit, designed by the sculptor Laurent Delvaux. The pulpit depicts the allegorical scene "Time discovers truth" and features black and white marble, bare oak and gilded wood. Here we see the priest's chapel with its massive open-work copper doors where confessions would be heard. Perhaps easily overlooked as you exit the cathedral is the chapel dedicated to St Macarius of Ghent. After a life as a wandering pilgrim, he settled with the Benedictines of St Bavos and died there in 1012. He was so revered as a wise and holy man that his relics have been preserved in this reliquary. After all of that history, a visit to Graffiti Strata made a refreshing change and gave a nod to the more modern side of the city. Ever since the historical centre passageway was given over to street artists in the 1990s, murals have popped up all over Ghent. In fact, there are now so many that you can download a free map to pinpoint some of the more famous pieces. And of course, no trip to Belgium would be complete without mentioning the chocolate. With over 30 chocolatiers in Ghent alone, we were spoilt for choice. After a busy 2 days of exploring, what could be a more fitting end than to partake in some famous Belgian beer alongside the river that started it all. Cheers!